They're the worst.
They're the worst.
Hello and welcome to the third installment of the Worst Critics series, Reboot or Deboot. As always, I'm Noah Davis.
I'm John Peanut.
And today we're talking about The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, 1947, directed by Norman, is it MacLeod?
Yeah, MacLeod, I think.
Norman MacLeod, written by Ken England, Everett Freeman, and Philip Rapp, and based on a short story from 1939. You want to start off big picture like usual?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool, actually, especially considering 1947. They really do that teeter off into a daydream thing very well. There's some tropey things and some old movie, we'll say sheen over it, a lacquer of sorts, but it's pretty goddamn good.
Yeah, I thought it a very charming movie. There's definite charm. It had that, it didn't excel, above like old movies. I don't think this is, a masterpiece or anything like that, but it is a quite enjoyable movie that doesn't have a ton of problems at all, really, other than just kind of falling to the same problems that movies of that generation did.
Better movie than Citizen Kane, though.
I mean, yeah, I'd rather watch this than Citizen Kane, yes. For those unaware, because I don't know if our Citizen Kane episode is up still, we do not like Citizen Kane.
Yeah, bad movie out of 10.
But this one, yeah, I could watch this again, and I could say to people, oh, yeah, if you want to watch an old charming 40s movie, yeah, this one, yeah, I like this one. I'll just get into the details since we've gotten, the charm and good movie out of the way. It just starts off really well and establishes his character super quickly, super efficiently. I mean, just instantaneously, you understand who this guy is, who Walter Mitty is. And I love the whole ta-pocketa-pocketa-pocketa. I think that's a great reuse thing where it's just you're familiar with that, and that's, he writes a story, he's going to use these same sound effects. So it's almost giving you a trope within this guy's own style within the movie. And I think that just serves the movie really well.
Yeah, well, and it's very daydreamy-esque, right? Like you might have common threads that cause you to wander and common threads between the daydreams and
right, yeah. It's not
Pocketa is that for him.
It's not as though the daydreaming came out of nowhere. There's always a reason for it, and I think that, helps with the venturing off and kind of pausing the plot.
Yeah, totally. And I think for me in particular in the first act, I wasn't exactly sure what it was trying to do. And remind me, have you seen the remake?
No.
Yeah. Because I have, and
yeah, no spoilers.
Yeah, no spoilers, but the plot is different,
okay.
And so I wasn't sure if the remake, was sort of loosely based on this, and they share the same name and the same daydreamy thing, but that's about it. I mean, more or less, I would say that's probably right, but the plot was actually fairly interesting. It wasn't like I think sometimes how these old movies do is they do either pretty stuff or good music or really interesting like DP stuff, and then sort of fall short on the interconnectivity of it all. And this, I think, it does it all pretty well. Like the filmmaking is cool, the set design is pretty cool.
Oh, I love the set design, especially when they're in the dreams. How everything was blocked off, the background was completely blocked off. Love that.
Yep. And the the non-problematicness of most of it, especially for an old movie, is pretty good.
Yeah, surprisingly did that well. Yeah, aged pretty well.
Yeah, like maybe some accents that were pushing it, but
are you talking about the British accents in the World War II fantasy?
I think he does like an Indian accent, and I think he does some like Eastern European that's clearly like, questionably making fun of.
Oh, like the Eastern fake Europeans. German kind of when he's the professor or whatever.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah, I
mm-hmm,
mean,
mm-hmm.
I think I think there's a reason for it, and I don't think
Yeah,
he's making fun of that specific group. That's just the character that happens to be funny. Uh,
right.
but
But it
yeah,
might be funny because of that, you know.
right. And
I don't know what we're laughing at.
and I especially want to talk about the surgery scene. I thought that scene was hilarious, where he's just shoving everything like from his grocery list or shopping list that his mother gave him, and then he's just like, yeah, he'll be able to do that again, just because he, shoved all these things in him. Um, there's just a lot of good things. I mean, even the dog scene, I really thought that was funny.
Oh yeah, no, there's a lot of funny stuff. I did comment that I'm pretty sure to get that barking right, the dog was definitely abused because it's the 40s. But
I mean,
you know,
it's possible it wasn't. It's possible. Yeah, I mean, the comedic timing is great, and Danny Kaye is great. I really only know him from White Christmas. That's
oh, same.
my
I don't know him from anything.
Yeah, that's all I have from him. I don't know if I've ever seen another movie with him. So to see him branch out and be a different character, I really appreciated that. Even though he's still got that Danny Kaye style, he's kind of timid, in a way, and he's got a pizzazz, especially when he's doing the professor thing and he's singing. There's just something incredibly talented about that.
You know what movie he is in? That's also in the remade a million times camp.
What?
One of the OG A Star Is Borns. I think the second one.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe we might have to do that one up soon just to see. Uh, I also want to comment. I'm not sure if you noticed, but when they're in the dreams, did you notice the grading of the colors turning like blue, green, red on the screen?
Yes, I put a comment as well to make sure I talked about it. It happened in a couple of the dreams, but not all of them for me. And it happened when she, our female protagonist that isn't his fiance,
Right.
climbs into the window of his home. It like did it for probably a 20-25 second
Yeah,
period. I
was
was
that
like,
on
what is happening?
purpose?
No, I assume it's something to do with like the film and the way it was stored, and then translating it now into digital. Like there's some weird
Right. And I'm
fuckery
wondering
that
if
happened.
the colorization, because I doubt that film was colored and then they recolored it. I wonder if that maybe has to do with it. I don't know.
No,
I'm
I think
not.
it was shot Technicolor, is what it
Oh,
says at least in the notes.
okay. Well, I just wasn't, it looked weird and I thought they were going for a dreamy thing. And I was like, okay, this is actually cool. But then, it wasn't consistent is the problem. So I'm
Right.
not sure what happened there. I also, I really like the extended sequences. The fact that, you can sit in a scene for more than a few minutes and not just zooming around, even though it's a pretty hectic plot and things are constantly happening, there's still breaks and pauses, and you can let actual events breathe rather than just, okay, next one, okay, next one, okay, next one. Uh, Again, I always come back to the British World War II fantasy when he's shooting down the planes and then he's going to the
Mm-hmm.
bar. I mean, that's an entire chunk of the movie that's just a daydream. And then, you're thrown back in. Okay, back to Walter Mitty. And
Right.
there was just a really good flow to it all.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was really cool. Obviously, the acting was great, but in particular, I think the writing was good. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you could see him evolve after each daydream, but also sort of snap right back into his sort of, schmucky self. And then only sort of when faced with trying to save the damsel in distress does he finally nut up. And it was
Right.
a good ending too. I think I actually liked how they chose to do it, and his boss sort of saw him grow and develop, but the rest of the people were like, "Oh, what's up?"
Yeah. I mean, yeah, the ending for sure was super clean. I mean, I wouldn't say too clean, but I do think they could have let that breathe just a hair more. I mean, it's fine. It's not even really a complaint. I
I mean,
mean, that's just old movie.
Ikaru. I'm just comparing
Yeah,
it to other things we see.
right. Yeah,
Ikaru.
he had actual development. Most characters had development, even as boss. His anger subsided, and then the woman, the what was her name? I'm blanking.
Rosalind.
Rosalind, yeah, okay, yeah. Even Rosalind kind of became more infatuated with him, and there's actually some depth to these characters. And also, I
Right.
want to point out that there was slapstick comedy, but it had a reason. You
Yeah, yeah, it
know?
wasn't forced. Oh, let's try to do some interesting stunt doubly, or this guy did his own action falls, or hang off a ledge. It served the actual plot.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I especially loved the repeat gag of when he backs up into his boss's window
Yes.
and
Yeah.
then he just knocks everything over. I mean, that was just classic right there. And then they did it again, which was amazing. Just amazing.
Yeah. You thought once, repeating it was good. Well, how about we do it 3 total times?
And then the whole the hat designer sequence, I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And like pretty evolved, it was like pretty funny how they're like, yeah, it's because I hate women.
It's because I yeah, that's so good.
Yeah. Oh, and I did the math. So he was like, oh, this hat only cost $60, and it was literally just like the piece of straw with a bow on it.
Mm-hmm.
So in 1947, $60 is equivalent to $860 now.
I mean,
So yeah, he's like, this is $1,000 hat. And you're like, okay, I see.
yeah, and kind of off of the hat designer and things, and trying to compare this to previous things we watched, heartbreaking. This guy was kind of an asshole, but there was a purpose to it. It advanced everything. I mean, it was the literal driver of the plot, because he's just so forgetful and he's completely not attached to reality. But there's a reason that you can grasp onto, and you can clearly, I mean, that's a part of his character.
Right. Like, yeah, he's used to being trampled over and being forgotten, and his way of sort of not experiencing that is to just sort of go off into La La Land, and only by the end does he go, okay, maybe reality is worth hanging out in because Rosalind's cool and gets me.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's honestly not. I don't know if I can complain about this movie. Really?
Yeah, no, I have no complaints. I think this is actually again a really good movie. It's nothing. The only thing that keeps it from being like a perfect or like really incredible top of all time movie is that there's nothing extraordinary, but everything is technically well done. Everything is really clean. Everything's fun and or funny and or good.
And I think that
for
honestly,
sure it's at least like a 9 out of 10 type movie.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. No. And I think honestly, its biggest problems are just the trappings of a 40s movie. It looks like a 40s movie. It's edited like a 40s movie. It doesn't.
Everyone talks like this. I got a midnight gas.
It doesn't break out of that mold enough to be, oh, this is life-changing movie. But again, still a fantastic movie. I literally don't have any negatives. My negatives were just kind of notes.
Mine were accents are questionable, but that was all.
Also, the gambling scene on the Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
When you are accused of cheating and you leave the table without taking the money, that makes you seem like you did cheat.
I agree. I took it almost though that he won and the guy was like falsely accusing him of cheating.
Yeah. No, yeah. That's exactly
and
what
so
it
was. He was like, I am better than you and I don't even need this money.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what it was. No, I get that. It's just,
when you do leave the money, it does seem more credible.
Yeah, it does seem like, wait, like, the other people at the table. In my mind, they would say, "Oh wait, that guy definitely cheated."
Right, but it's about the clout, and he's got all the clout because he used his cane to knock the gun out and then handed the gun back.
Right.
So.
I mean, that was badass, and the whole, and even the set design of outside the ship with all the bubbles. I don't know why that worked so well, but it did.
It did, and the way forget about the fact that they were just cool bubbles, but they really even did the lighting right. Such that you got that little rainbow effect on each bubble that went across his face. Yeah. Like it was just a really cool scene.
No, it was very fun to just look at, to just admire. Yeah, it was a good movie. It was a good movie.
Good movie.
Did it outstay its welcome?
I only had one more note, which was just the fact that I can't be sure of it, but they did verbatim use the phrase YOLO without the term YOLO. So I'm
So
not sure whether or not this
we
is
need
the
to
first.
figure
Yeah,
it out.
it's first use. I tried, and
What'd the AI tell
I
you?
it didn't tell me anything. Like I searched, you only live once first use and YOLO first use, and it was just like it was popularized by Drake in 2011. I was
Thanks,
like,
but who
no,
actually did it?
right. So I can try one more time right now live and figure it out. But
Yeah, I'll look at my notes to, I mean, I really enjoyed the scene where he's going up the stairs and they reuse the same stairway. They just move the props on the walls around.
wait, sorry, which scene?
When he's running up the stairs back to his office,
Oh, yes, 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 yes,
and
yes.
they just reuse the exact same stairs, but they're putting the props on the walls in different places. I just super clever, super easy, and it almost added to the comedic tone. Because I mean, it's very obvious, it's not like they're trying to pull one over on you. It's completely they're literally using the same exact props on the walls every single shot of the stairway. Um,
Right.
yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Looks like 1966 was the first use of the acronym.
Wow,
The Grateful Dead
wow,
used it.
Grateful Dead, huh? I'm not a
Yeah.
deadhead. I wouldn't know.
YOLO was their whole mindset at the time, was what someone used to describe the
Wow.
band.
Uh,
But yeah, that's all I got. So this could still be the first use, but of course, it's not quite the term YOLO.
right. Then the whole like, oh, you have a nice face. I thought that was hilarious. And Boris Karloff, I've never seen him in a normal role. He played the doctor, psychiatrist, or the fake
Right,
psychiatrist.
right.
I've never seen him in a normal role. I've always, seen him as like horror icons.
Frankenstein's monster
Yeah,
and
it's really
the
weird.
mummy.
Yeah, it's really weird to just see him
Oh,
as a dude.
he was the Grinch in the 66 Grinch.
Oh, that explains so much, honestly. I've never connected that, but that explains so much.
I had no idea.
That's why
That's
it's
cool as hell.
better. And
Yeah.
it's only like
All
20
right.
minutes, so way easier to watch.
This is a good movie, bro.
Yeah,
Good
no,
movie.
I'm honestly running out of things to talk about just because, we talked about the positives and there's nothing to hate on. There's nothing to
You want
criticize.
closing remarks and predictions then?
Yeah, well, you can't predict. You're not
Well, I said
allowed.
you. I said
Oh, me
you.
predict? I assume the whole woman thing, the woman being in the art, the book, the boot, and all that. I just assume that's a little dated because that's a very specific post World War II kind of plot. Um, so I kind of expect, maybe not even predict, I just expect that to be either completely reworked or forgot about completely because, again, that's such a specific, oh, you're looking for a list of hidden artworks. It's such a specific post World War II thing that I don't think that could work in, 2013. Is it 13?
Yeah, for 13. I'll say, because again, no spoilers, but I think one of the major, I mean, it's not even a major change, but one of the ways that they'll remedy that plot difference is just by having him have a different type of job.
Oh, I don't love
So,
that. Is he gonna be a
yeah.
movie maker? Is he a movie maker? Don't
No,
tell
no,
me.
no, no, no. No, no, just slightly different. It's not like a major career change. It's enough that he doesn't have to be tied to the tropes of the 40s. He can sort
Right.
of go off and do his own thing and not be like tethered. Anyway, that's enough.
Well,
Um, I was just gonna say one of the other things. I mean, you can keep giving more predictions too, but one of the other things I want to keep doing is compare like the run times because I think for me, I'm guessing that there will be a correlation that when there's a distinct deviation,
right,
that the movies are going to be very different movies.
for sure.
As in Living in Ikuru. And in this case, the runtime is only 4 minutes different.
Okay, so
So
pretty similar-ish, hopefully.
yeah, that's the hope. We'll see when we get
My
bigger sample
my
size here.
biggest issue is that this movie is so clean and expertly executed that I'm not sure how you could really improve. I know you could definitely modernize it for sure. That's, without question. But improving this seems really hard.
Yeah, I think that would be, in my mind, the only way to improve it was some of the things that we didn't necessarily have like qualms with, but were clearly dated, or the fact that it was clearly dated. There were things that only tied it to the 40s. So that's why it's charming, but it can't be excellent. The
Right.
remake would have that sort of potential in my mind. If someone were to tell a very similar story, but use modern movie making techniques with big actors that we know, it could sort of have that longevity piece to it. So
I'm gonna be so
we'll see what
bummed
you
if
think.
Ben Stiller never says ta-pocketa-pocketa-pocketa-pocketa. I'm gonna be so bummed by that. Just so we're clear.
Well, and also after coming off of his greatest work of all time, it's going to be
Shooey.
hard to see him as an actor, writer, director.
We need the Ben Stiller redemption arc. We need to
I
only
know.
watch good Ben Stiller movies just to get the
Turns
taste out of our mouth.
turns out this coming one might be the only one. I'm trying to think of other Ben Stiller movies I like.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. We'd have to
Like
look at
certain
other
ones have a special
remakes.
place in my heart, but it's like Tropic Thunder, maybe.
We're going off the rails, but I'm gonna keep going off the rails. I heard we're getting another Meet the Parents, and I want to die.
Yeah, no, pass. Don't need to talk about it. I'm good there. Thanks
Okay.
anyway.
Okay. I mean, this is a little short. I feel kind of weird. We're like literally 10 minutes off our usual timing. So, do you have any
All right.
other remarks? You want to stretch this out a little bit?
No, I'm kind of good, man. I think we hit all our major points.
Yeah, Danny Kaye's great. Other acting's great. Danny Kaye again. I put Danny Kaye twice because singing and acting just great. Um,
Oh, actually, did we talk about the fact it's based on a short story?
I mean, I mentioned it in the beginning with the info dump, but not
Right.
the fact of it.
Well, I apparently, because again, this is just like I was reading the wiki. There's a phrase that was commonly used when the short story came out between the short story and the movie called Mitty-esque, when
Really?
something sort of had like heroic daydreams within it, and I was like, that's kind of cool,
Yeah. No, that's really cool.
Mitty-esque.
Huh.
But clearly, it's dropped out of our
Oh yeah,
lexicon. So
nobody would know what you're talking about. Kafka-esque still works, but MIDI-esque,
right.
someone would be, huh? What was that? MIDI?
Oh, I did have one more. The surgery scene thing,
Yes.
the daydream.
Yeah.
That machine was badass.
What about
Like
it
just
was
just
badass?
like the tech, like
Oh
movie
yeah.
tech. I was like, this is super cool. I was not expecting, you know, sometimes the sci-fi adjacent things
Hmm.
in old movies really date themselves. Some of the old Star Treks as a just clear example. You're like, lasers, not good. But
They're called
cool,
phasers, just so we're clear.
cool, contraptions. What are those things called where like a ball will fall down, then that hits the cuckoo clock, and then the cuckoo clock
Rube
drops a
Goldberg.
yeah. So those type of Rube Goldberg machines that exist in all movies, I think are like the only way it can sort of be done right. And this sort of was in that camp as opposed to phasers, lasers, aliens. Was that
Yeah,
anything?
honestly, kind of glad they didn't have a sci-fi dream sequence. I kind of like that it was grounded in, you know, not reality, but in the real world. uh, I mean, that way you didn't get too far off. You weren't pulled away so far that it's just like, oh wait, is this a sci-fi movie? It always kept a just kind of a recurring feel to it. But yeah, I mean that's all I got, folks.
That's all I got, folks.
All right, we'll see you in a little bit with part two, where we will talk about Secret Life of Walter Mitty 2013. And we're back with part two of Reboot or Deboot. We are talking about the reboot of Secret Life of Walter Mitty, the 2013 version, directed by Ben Stiller, starring Ben Stiller, and written by Steve Conrad. Big picture?
Oof. I remember this much more fondly than the rewatch. I will say, I still really like this movie. I don't know that it's quite a reboot, other than the titular, you know, name of the main character and obviously the title of the film, and then also the daydreamingness. But the rest of the movie is a very fucking different movie.
Yeah, if we want to just get into that right off the bat, I'm okay with that. Calling this The Secret Life of Walter Mitty felt almost disingenuous. Like, God damn it. Like is a plague. After watching the Bear new season, I need to consciously get
Right.
rid of that.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Take it out of your
I'd rather
vocab.
say so we're going with today. Uh, yeah, it feels disingenuous because I even took the time to read the short story, and the original movie is much more in line with the short story. Even pocketa, love it. No notes. Yeah, and this movie has nothing to do with that. Whether it's the character's relationship with his mother, the character's relationship with just other characters, the character's position and career choice, even kind of the character himself isn't very much Walter Mitty that we were at least introduced to in the Danny Kaye movie. And I don't know, it feels super weird, and the message is completely different. Is that just me?
No, no, no. I think you're right on all points. They're clearly different characters with different motivations, different occupations, and thus almost an entirely different plot. In the first film, you had like a dude who was sort of downtrodden and beaten up by life and thus escaped in his daydreams. And this guy's kind of a crybaby about his dead dad.
Yeah, I honestly didn't understand why he was imagining these things or why he was so imaginative when he's just this bullshit copy or negative what was he negative
Negative asset manager, I think.
negative asset manager. I get it. People are imaginative. You don't have to be a writer or an artist to be imaginative, but there's almost no point why he's imaginative. It doesn't correlate with the actual story other than being an actual plot device and Sean Penn, all that, yada, yada. So I was kind of confused. Even though I do like the message of this movie, it feels as though it's a different message.
I will say, I think this one does do stuff better than the old one.
The
I don't
direction.
know that it serves, well, right, but I don't even know that it serves this movie or the story any better necessarily. But for instance, the old movie, probably because it's just old, has a lot of tropes about like the relationship, like the random hot stranger. Okay, we're gonna fall in love because hot stranger moments.
Right,
Whereas
right.
this is like one, a very more normal looking Kristen Wiig, and also more in line with the plot devices, a la he's sort of a weird introvert nerdy type and he's matched on eHarmony with a coworker. It gives a little weird vibes, but it's still sort of sincere, and not like creepy murderer creepy. So I mean
Yeah.
that's just one example. Things a movie serves better.
So I think that's kind of my big picture opinion. I didn't exactly love this movie, but it's not a bad movie. I did have qualms with it. I did have some issues, but I do want to talk about the positives first so that I can get to my negatives.
Go
Um,
for it.
I really enjoyed the direction, very thoughtful, deliberate, the shots, the awesome transition between the film reel and
Right, like the
the
three cut and then
fountain.
that fountain, dude. I'm telling you, that's one of the best scene transitions I've ever seen.
Awesome. It looked awesome, felt awesome. There's a reason. I even like the color grading where everything's blue. I know some people can find the monochrome thing annoying, but I think it served its purpose in this movie. And, it has actual shots with meaning, whether it's the positioning or the blocking, the character on the left or the right, there's meaning to these shots, unlike the original. But, I say that, and I don't know, that might be the only thing I really enjoyed about the movie is just the direction.
See, I have a couple more positives.
Get me?
Maybe you're lumping it all into that one bucket, but
Probably.
I would say just the movie making in general. So I agree completely. The cinematography and direction is superb, honestly top tier, probably one of the 2010s best directions and like just DP work, like insane. On top of that, I think not only is the film scored super well, but also has like a very good soundtrack. Again, as someone who's nostalgic for this type of like indie pop type music, and it serves the movie well. It isn't just like, here's a popular song from the 2010s. Like, this is all indie music back then. It just happens to be music I know.
Well, I
So I think
actually,
both those things served it well.
one of my negatives is they kind of butcher Jose Gonzalez music, who I've loved since Red Dead Redemption 1, the video game. He was featured on that soundtrack, so I deep dove into him.
How did they butcher it?
They remixed it. One remix was literally by the Chainsmokers, and then they cut the version of the song so they would just use the intro strum of the song, but they never gave us the actual song. And then when they gave us the actual song of him singing it, it was the Chainsmokers reboot or remix. And not that it was bad, it's just as someone who really likes that guy's music, it was kind of a bummer is all. Like every scene, kill me. Every scene with the acoustic guitar score, that was just ripped from a Jose Gonzalez song, but they didn't use the actual song. So that kind of peeved me. Not really a negative, just since you're talking about the soundtrack, I did want to point that out.
What about Space Odyssey?
Oh no, everything else was fine, even though it was kind of poppy, which kind of leads me, sort of segues into another weird point I had. Why did it have to mention so many companies?
I was thinking the same thing. I
There-
think this is the beginning of the end in terms of the sort of death of movie and TVs not having the most absolutely egregious, blatant product placement.
Yeah,
Because
but it's
that
in
was
the
the only thought I
script.
had. That's what I'm saying. I think that is just part of it. Like, they just sold out.
It
They're like, oh yeah, we'll
feels
throw you in the movie.
Yeah, it feels super weird. Whether it was Papa John's or I'm Loving It, McDonald's reference. There were a couple more I didn't even write down because I was
Obviously,
kind of.
eHarmony.
Oh
Obviously,
yeah,
Time
eHarmony.
Magazine.
Sorry,
Obviously,
the
or Life
entire plot
Magazine.
of the movie. Yeah.
Yeah, Life Magazine, not Time Magazine. My bad.
Yeah, Life magazine. It felt really corporate in a way, and maybe that's the only way Ben Stiller could get this produced or something. I don't know. Good on him for trying to do something different, but it did feel not on the nose, but blatant. It just felt blatant that they were shoving these things into the Papa John's thing. Bugged me to death.
Yeah, it was weird. And then they also did KFC right after it.
Did they do KFC?
He was like, "Oh, yeah." He was like, "Oh, what's this? Get
Oh
up,
yeah,
you
yeah. He was
cowboy."
working
And
at
he's like,
it.
"Oh, that was
Right.
it." Yeah, he was like, "Oh, that was my KFC uniform."
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and I don't know, that's not really a negative, but it did take me out every time they made a reference to a big conglomerate billion dollar company. So
Agreed.
I don't
Agreed.
know. And then let's just kick this off. The my top list of negatives, my number one negative, almost immediately I had to stop for a second and write it down. Adam Scott's beard.
Yeah, I don't think it's a real beard, and it pissed me off the entire time looking at it.
If that's a real beard, they should have dyed it because it looks so weird. It looked uncanny. It looked weird. There was an uncanny valley to it.
But I mean, he has a beard in Severance for a bit, no?
Yeah, but that just might be great makeup, Maybe we're seeing bad makeup and then that's great makeup. It's kind of hard to tell sometimes when you have an actual great costumer and great, designer. Great application or something such as that.
Actually, it might be his real beard, just as bad on his face.
That might be it. That's exactly. I mean, it might be
I'm
it, but they
Googling
should
it.
have
I'm
dyed
looking
it.
at it. Yeah, they should have done something. They should have been like, "Why is your beard hair so dark relative to your head hair?"
So dark. It's really weird. And every time he
I
was on
really thought it was
screen,
like what's it called? That male dye to cover your gray spots. Like, it looked like they did that,
yeah, the what's that stuff
just for
called?
men or some shit.
Yeah, just for men. Yeah, yeah. It's been a while since I've seen those commercials. It kind of
I know, me
faded
too.
away.
That's why I was like, let me try to Google hair product, man.
Haven't watched cable in a hot minute. Yeah, and to kind of jump off that Adam Scott's character, the whole movie tried to make him an asshole, but I was just thinking this guy's not really an asshole. This is just his job, and even Walter Mitty points that out near the end. And he's having a conversation with Walter, and Walter just zones out and quits talking, and yet Adam Scott's supposed to be the asshole because he's pointing it out, you know?
Right.
Even the
I
whole
think
Major Tom thing, I'm like, well, yeah, yeah, of course. Why would you not make a joke since the guy literally spaced out?
I'm not in complete disagreement with you. I think the part where he tips into the asshole is when he's like flicking shit at him.
Yeah, but even
You know, because
then,
like it's a corporate workplace type thing, and he's like, "Really, you can't have a toy in a workplace."
okay, yeah, the toy thing. But did he even actually say that?
I think he said, "I can't take you seriously when you're holding that thing," and not
I mean,
the
that's kind of,
seriously put it away.
I mean, that's kind of fair. Guy's holding an action figure or something, a toy. You're gonna think, oh, what's that about? You're gonna ask about the toy before you even
Maybe he's like
talk to the
putting a
guy.
new thing on his desk. I don't know.
New thing on his desk.
Does
He's the
it matter?
transition dude. He's getting fired. He's getting laid off or whatever. He's not gonna be there much longer. You know, I don't know. It tried so hard to make Adam Scott a douche, and the whole time I'm thinking he's kind of being reasonable. He's
Oh
a
yeah,
little
I'm not.
brash.
Right, exactly. I don't think he's really the problem. I just don't know that he's also not being kind. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think you have to be kind in the workplace. I just think he is the only unkind person in the film, so it does paint him to be a complete douchebag.
Yeah, exactly. They tried. They were really trying. I could see it. And also, they kind of took away the comedy aspect of the original. No.
I would say so, yeah. I mean, the other was definitely a much lighter film. This is much more taking itself seriously film.
Yeah, almost a drama in comparison. You know, maybe not dramatic. It's kind of hard
Right, like
weird to call it.
dramedy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And you know, that's not a negative. That's a choice. That's a tonal choice. But why? I guess is my conundrum with that. You know, why would you choose to turn it into something it quite literally wasn't? And then
Modern movies to sell. You know, comedies already were dead in 2013, unless you were Seth Rogen or Adam Sandler.
that's fair. And then even at the end, they don't credit the movie; they credit the short story, and that's what made me read the short story. And the short story is funny too. So
Well, we
again,
talked about the short story last
yeah,
review.
yeah, but I actually read it this time. I think, did
I
you
see.
read it last time?
No.
Okay, well, I actually read it is the thing. And it's kind of funny. Uh, it has the pocketa, and there are actually two scenes that are almost exactly like the original, and none of which are in this one. So it's even weird, not even to call this a reboot of that movie, since they don't. I think it's weird to call it a retelling of the short story because it's not. So I don't know. They made some choices, and you know, again, I didn't hate this movie. I just felt kind of lackluster, is all. Other
Well,
than Stiller's
unfortunately,
direction.
we jumped straight into positive and negatives. I still have a few more big picture things before we
Who cares?
finalize everything
You
out.
know what? We go with the flow here. Go for it.
Oh, of course, of course. The one is on my cursory review of the wiki and the various people involved in the movie making and all that. The remake has been in production and just bouncing back and forth in that sort of production hell that it perpetually existed in from 1994 until
Jesus.
2011 when Stiller got the directorial title.
Jesus. So were they
Yeah,
fucking begging Papa John's for money?
probably is my point, right? That's they probably needed this cash because the one that saw the screen, aka this version that we saw, cost 90 million, but that excludes the like 25 years of development that got put into it on the front end.
Crazy. Now, was the original screenwriter this screenwriter? Do we know?
That I don't know. I would have to do a lot more digging that I didn't do, but that can be done while I talk. The other things I was going to point out, obviously, other than the 90 million budget, is that this
Mm-hmm.
made 190 million. So it made 100 million over the budget. Like that's pretty good for 2013 dramedy. You
Yeah,
know?
no, it's good money for sure. I don't know if it's gangbusters because people always say, "Oh, you gotta add the marketing and yada yada." I hate that conversation, but but people do it anyway. So Yeah, that's a
Here
lot of
we are.
money for sure for a dramedy.
Right. Yeah, I mean,
And
I thought it was pretty good.
it was really solid CG too, especially for
No,
2013.
exactly. And for a relatively low budget, I mean, what the fuck do Nolan movies cost? You know, like give me a break.
A lot. Whole lot.
Um, actually, yeah, no, I can't find anything about this production house. So moving on to the next point.
Mm-hmm.
You were saying that they pay homage to the uh short film or short story and not the first film,
Yeah.
but it was like a big Goldwyn production back then. Like even one of the little like taglines about it back then is it's a dream world of comedy, color, and Goldwyn girl loveliness.
Huh.
Okay?
Okay.
And not only do Samuel Goldwyn films produce this one as well, but there are like multiple Goldwyns like responsible for its production.
Weird. It's
So
weird that they wouldn't credit the movie in the credits. They only credited the short story.
yeah, again, I have no explanation for why they chose to do that, but I do think there was some level of quote unquote authentic oversight, even if the end result was not anything that resembled like homage or authenticity, at least to the film. It was, again, questionably to the short story, but as you said, and I have not read it, it is not, so who fucking knows? Other bits I had were Steve Conrad, the writer.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
He wrote Pursuit of Happiness.
Wow, that makes
The
all the sense in the entire world.
adaptation for whatever book that was based on, or whatever dude's life that was based on. I can't remember if it was
Yeah,
an
Rubik's
adaptation,
Cube
technically.
solver, limo
Yeah.
driver, or limo
Mm.
rider, something. That dude.
And then basically no other things of particular note, but also dramedies.
I mean, yeah, that checks out completely. Not unsurprising. Checks all of his boxes. I think. I remember liking Pursuit of Happiness, but maybe I needed to do a rewatch of that. Just to see.
I mean, it's good. I'm sure there's a lot of problematic stuff in it that 2000s and trying to tell a story, but also trying to paint this guy in a good light, but also questionable father and questionable choices and other things that probably
Yeah, but Will and Jaden, bro.
are very white coded in a very black story.
But Jaden auditioned or something, or that's what they said, and totally had nothing to do with who his dad was.
Mm-hmm.
Was that all
I
your
don't.
big pictures, or?
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think I had any other ones written down. Let me see if I do. The other ones I have. Oh, yeah. I mean, I want to read this one just because it's worthwhile saying out loud and
Hit me.
on the record. But his character's a little autistic, and they should have just gotten someone who was actually autistic rather than have someone act autistic.
Right. Yeah.
Like, he did such a great job directing it. Like, he did not need to star in it. That
No.
role did not need Ben Stiller.
No, because there was no manic or mania to it that Ben Stiller thrives on. There's almost nothing of that.
Right.
So
That crackhead
getting
energy kind of thing.
Yeah, so getting him for it felt odd. He needs more energy, and this movie didn't really have energy.
Yeah. My vote was Ray Romano.
I mean, I could have seen it, but then you wouldn't make 190 million with Ray Romano.
Correct. You don't sell Ray Romano tickets, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's the problem there. I will say, I got a list of nitpicks, just some nitpicks that
Go for it.
you know.
List them off. And then I got the letterbox.
One very small thing. Kristen Wiig saying buffering when she's Google searching something, kind of weird. I don't know.
It's just boomer talk.
Yeah,
man.
right. I get no. I just said kind of weird. The Benjamin Button sequence.
Oh shit! Wait, no, we have so many things still to talk about. Yeah, go ahead with the Benjamin Button sequence.
What was that about? That's not even the plot of the movie. They got the plot completely wrong and then just swept it under the rug by saying, "Oh, I don't know."
No, I think it was just meant to be funny.
Oh,
I
it
think
wasn't.
He said, "Oh, I've got that reverse Benjamin Button thing. I don't know. I haven't really seen the movie." And then they proceed to do the bullshit thing he described and not the real movie at all because it's humorous.
Right. but I wasn't laughing.
Like, you don't have to laugh for it to be funny. The
I
movie makers,
mean, it
I
wasn't
didn't
that
say Heartbreak
funny.
Kid was funny, but it is a
It
comedy.
wasn't that funny. There was nothing haha funny in that movie at all. So let's get that straight. And speaking of Heartbreak Kid, he had to play soccer with the indigenous people.
Yeah, that whole sequence really pisses me off because it's like, not only with this dude who clearly has not played soccer ever, just by the shots they chose to include, which are probably some of the better ones, but why do they always have to have the protagonist like score a goal and look cool? Like, why couldn't he just be fumbling and tired and old man? Like, that would also be sincere and still give to the like really memorable experience of it all. Like, you didn't have to score a goal on top of the mountains in Kazakhstan or wherever they were, Afghanistan. You know, it's like
Because you got to
just
be happy for
vibe,
him. No.
just vibe.
No. And then the whole foreign food is gross joke again.
Oh, I missed that one. When did that happen?
When he's eating the fish in Greenland and he bites it and spits it out and he's like, oh, and spits it out in his mouth and then throws it before the bartender lady turns around. Did you?
Yeah, I didn't even catch that. I don't think.
How'd you not catch it? I was like, oh wait, I was I can't even
Yeah,
word that
white
better.
people, disrespecting white people culture doesn't bother me at all.
I mean, I don't know. It's still just the same shtick, the whole fajita thing again.
Right, but to me, it rubs me like, oh, dumb American in Europe, and not like colonist shitting on, oh, something spicy is going to give me diarrhea, like.
Might as well be though. Kind of might as well be. It's fresh in my mind, so I was thinking of that, and yeah, I already said the references to the company, blah blah blah. Adam Scott. I didn't love the mom and the sister dynamic. I thought that was a waste of Catherine Hahn.
But that's exactly the language I was going to use. What a waste of Catherine Hahn. She played the most milquetoast character of all time, and was kind of annoying. And like, I've never found her annoying. She's always hilarious or great.
Hilarious.
She's never neither.
Yeah.
In this, she was just kind of annoying, and I get that was the role. So maybe also kudos to her, but what a bad use of Catherine Hahn.
Yeah, terrible use.
Catherine Hahn could have been Kristen Wiig. You could have switched the two. That would have made a lot more sense. I think Kristen Wiig was just coming off, Bridesmaids and like hot shit.
Yeah, actually, I do. You know what? I do think that would be a better casting of switching those two.
But seeing her get lost in a daydream and starting to play guitar and shit, like that makes so much more sense for Catherine Hahn than it does fucking Kristen Wiig.
Huh. Yeah. Also, another little thing. You know how she's acting as though her and her ex never got back together? When he was dropping the skateboard off, the dude said honey.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. Completely correct of Ben Stiller to dip the fuck out of there and be like, oh, I messed up.
So what implication or almost what inference should he have when your ex-husband calls you honey? That's not... Sorry, guys.
Talk to someone like that.
Yeah, but you ask your ex to come over to fix something and then he calls you honey? That's toxic as fuck, guys.
To the stranger at the door.
And Ben Stiller or Walter Mitty should have thought that they were back together because that's what that implies. And so when she's saying, oh, must have daydreamed that, or he says that, whatever, doesn't matter. No, he didn't. No, he did not daydream that. He did not imagine that because that's what happened. Also, who's going to trade a Stretch Armstrong $20 toy for a $60 skateboard?
I was going to say $100. Like a longboard with a custom, whatever it's called, like the under part where the wheels go.
Also, what kid is using a longboard for tricks at the park? That's a separate issue because it's longboards. Yes, you can do that for sure. Not saying no one does.
But not the kid who can't land a kick flip on his skateboard.
Yeah, use longboard for trekking, really. And then you use skateboard for skating. But whatever, doesn't matter. Not a big deal.
Yeah, not a big deal. I wrote it down. I just want to talk about it on this podcast where we talk about the movie.
Yeah, I did. Also, Patton Oswalt's voice is so distinct that you could just tell it was him just from the first phone call, that eHarmony support call.
Correct.
I really didn't even know he was going to be in it. I just thought, oh, there he is,
Did it bother you that he was in it?
No, it didn't bother me. It's just his voice is so distinct that it's just,
Right.
oh,
It's
that,
Patton
yep,
Oswalt. It's not
that's
a
Pat.
character. It's
Right. That's
Patton
not a random
Oswalt.
guy. Right. Um,
Right. I
I,
like that though. I thought Patton Oswalt kind of hard carried the movie. Every scene he was in, even if it was over the
oh,
phone, I was
Cinnabon,
kind of like, "This is funny." Oh, Cinnabon's another product,
another
isn't it?
company. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
Cinnabon
And they said
joke.
it twice too. They're like, "Oh, let's get a Cinnabon,"
Yeah,
and then
you
he's
like
like,
your
"Oh, how's
Cinnabon?
your Cinnabon?"
Who
Yeah.
the fuck says that? I mean,
Yeah, you would say, "Do you like your cinnamon
your cinnamon
roll?"
roll?
Or
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then you
Mhm.
would talk about cinnamon, but cinnabon. You wouldn't say you like your cinnabon, or at least I would never say that in my life.
You
Um,
pay me enough money, I'll say it, I
well,
guess.
yeah, you finance my movie. I'll say it anytime you want. And then I think that's my nitpicks. But did you catch the Severance actor?
Mm, no question mark?
The helicopter
Oh,
pilot.
oh yes, yeah, the drunk, yeah.
Yeah, he's the big
Icelandic
dude
guy.
from
Yeah, he's
Severance.
brother or bodyguard or board member or
Board
all three.
member dude guy that I can't remember the name because Severance has weird names for characters.
I think it's Mr. Drummond or something.
Sure.
Drummer.
I also think that's kind of all my things. Talked about
Useless
the
Sean Penn. Useless Sean Penn.
useless Sean Penn. Yeah, you're right. I didn't even write that down. But yeah, Sean Penn was great in the role he filled. I just did not like the role at all.
Conan O'Brien cameo.
Oh yeah, fuck. Another company thing. Another company thing. Put that out there.
I was like, I don't know what's happening with all of this on the rewatch because it really wasn't that blatant to me the first time I watched it, but definitely this time
It's because you were
a
stuck in
little
the
yikes.
2013s era.
Yeah, I mean, it's just such a pretty movie, and like, as someone who
Super pretty
wants
movie.
to flee America and just do anything other than what I'm doing, it's kind of sick vibes.
Yeah, let's go to Greenland and skate and play soccer with indigenous people and get the
Well, that's in
gold.
Afghanistan.
Whatever.
I would go to Iceland for sure. I would get an airplane with a drunk Icelandic pilot.
Yeah, let's go. Yeah, but Sean Penn's character, it's totally made sense for a plot device, but why would I care about that character? Or why should I care about that character since we watched the movie? Um, yeah, it didn't really do much other than say, oh yeah, he's a photographer and here's his pictures. That doesn't do enough for that reveal at the end. It's not this aha moment or, oh yeah, we finally get to see him. It's, yeah, finally. You know, you've been teasing
Yeah,
us, Sean Penn. Okay, there's Sean Penn.
no, you got that one. I'll
And
give
I
that one to
mean,
you.
great actor. He did his part, and he might be the best actor in the movie or the best acting in the movie, which isn't really surprising.
I was
He's
say that's
Sean
not really
Penn.
that's not really saying much.
It just makes you wonder why would you
Right.
spend that money on Sean Penn when the role is so
Because what I'm thinking is maybe they didn't. Maybe Sean Penn like really loved the original and his buddies with Stiller and was like, oh yeah, blah blah blah, we can do that. We
I
can figure that
mean,
out.
we better look it up, see if he's on a press tour. If not, then maybe. If so, they paid him.
No, he's like super low build on the cast.
Oh, well,
He's under the helicopter pilot on the billing.
is that alphabetical or is that actual billing?
Nope. Nope.
Oh,
Billing.
huh. Okay. Well, yeah. Okay. That makes a little more sense, honestly. Because yeah, I didn't really get it. Um, or I didn't get the character, not Sean Penn. I the whole I don't know. The whole plot felt just kind of weird, is all. Maybe it's just because of watching the original, I guess, and how it cleanly went from plot point to plot point. This one was so a little convoluted with the whole clue thing and piecing together the pictures and oh, he happens to see the piano at the right angle.
Right. The thumb getting in his face, like that dude would have just
Yeah.
fucking knocked you out, bro.
And he took a picture of the thumb. It felt a little convoluted for something that isn't. For a short story or a reboot of an original movie that isn't that convoluted. It's pretty straightforward, straight laced. And yet they had to conjure up this weird world globe crossing, globe trotting adventure. I don't know. It just felt a little weird. It served the purpose and there weren't really holes. It just felt as though I was taking real leaps of logic, is all.
Yeah, I think Ben Stiller had an idea for direction. He pitched that to a writer. The writer tried to make it make sense, and then they just shot that movie.
Yes.
Is exactly how I think that went. So
That's, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
convoluted. I understand completely. All right, last couple things before we wrap this up.
Yeah, no, I got all my personal ones up.
Well, these are big picture things. Just National Board of Review. Have we talked about them before?
Why would we talk about them?
Just in the context of talking about people who reviewed movies arbitrarily. Some like group from New York that's supposedly all hoity-toity and.
Bro, if it ain't
Ooh,
Ebert
we reviewed it.
himself, I don't really care about
Exactly.
reviewers.
No, me too. Me neither. But on the freaking wiki page, it's like, it was chosen as one of the top 10 films of 2013. So I was like, well, let me find their list and let's see what the hell that looks like. You ready?
Hit me.
Her, 12
Okay.
Years a Slave,
Okay.
Fruitville Station,
Okay.
Gravity,
Okay.
Inside Llewyn Davis.
Oh,
Llewyn Davis?
right. Yeah, I never
Oscar
watched
Isaac?
that one. Yeah,
Me neither.
yeah. I think that's what got
Well,
Oscar Isaac really in the
I
forefront.
think it did. Lone Survivor.
Oh,
Yep.
2013,
Mark
huh?
Yeah. Nebraska.
Okay,
As
yeah.
in Penn.
Pain, yeah.
Prisoners.
Okay, yeah. Yeah.
Saving Mr. Banks.
That's actually was surprisingly good. I thought that was going to
That's
be
a really
trash.
goddamn good fucking
Yeah.
movie. I love that movie.
Thought that was
Actually.
going to be absolute trash. Went to see it. Awesome.
Yep. Secret Life of Walter Mitty, and then Wolf of Wall Street.
Okay.
Not
I
a
mean,
bad list.
it's actually a pretty good year, honestly, all said and done. That's pretty good. I didn't love Lone
So then,
Survivor because it was kind of,
so then quickly, just to see if they did. You want 2012 or 2014? We'll just pick an adjacent year.
Ugh, 2012's got to be bad. 2012's going to be bad. Hit me. 2012's
Zero
bad.
Dark 30.
Yeah, that's probably the one. Okay.
Argo.
Mm.
Beasts of the Southern Wild.
Which one is that?
It's a like fantasy kids movie.
Sure.
Django.
Oh shit, that was
Les
2012.
Mis. Yeah, Les Mis. Lincoln. Looper.
God.
Perks of Being a Wallflower.
God, I don't like 2012.
Promised Land.
Which one was Promised Land?
Matt Damon, John Krasinski, Frances McDormand.
Oh, that's the environmental one, right?
I think so. Drilling rights and stuff.
Yeah, never cared to watch that one.
Yeah, who cares? Fucking woke propaganda.
I mean, I'm already bummed about the environment enough.
Exactly. Yeah, you don't gotta like the one that's based in West Virginia and has got the Hulk. What's that one? You know what I'm talking about? It's like about the Teflon
Ruffalo.
crisis. Yeah, I was like, no need to watch that. Those are my people dying.
Was that Michael Shannon too? Was in there somewhere? What was that movie called?
I don't know. I stopped watching it. I was like, I'm going to bed. I'm not watching the rest of it.
That's fair. Was that the end of
Silver Linings Playbook? Silver Linings Playbook was.
Oh, okay, okay, that was a good one.
So like these are terrible lists, you know. So I was like, well, maybe it's something to check out. Not that I actually care, but it was interesting. And then last but not least, the Letterboxd. So popular reviews. Here we go. Look Ben Stiller in his electric blue eyes and tell him this film doesn't have, and then a bulleted list. Some damn nice cinematography.
Fair.
Some damn nice music. A damn nice story with a goddamn nice ending.
Is it a nice
damn
story?
Great and not cringe way to use a dating website in a film, thanks to Todd.
I don't know if we had a call to eHarmony though.
A great end credit song, which I always take note of. A damn great cast. Iceland is so fucking beautiful. Fuck England. I've gone off topic, but that skateboard scene though, snow leopards. Like, what?
I don't know. That doesn't feel like a review.
Yeah, I can stop. And then someone just talking about how hard their week was and how this is their favorite movie, and it always gets them feeling better.
Wow.
So,
I mean, again, I love the message it's telling. I just think it's a little convoluted to get to a pretty simple message.
Yeah, and honestly, would serve itself better if it just didn't try to have a message at all, and instead was just pretty stuff for like an hour and a half, and just shave off a couple of useless scenes.
Yeah, actually, no dialogue. Just give me the pretty stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, yeah. Just don't be like it. Not be a talkie would actually be sick. You know, like old school captioned.
I'm in. I'm in. You
Yeah.
say less.
All
I'm
right.
in.
We got pitches to Ben Stiller now.
Yeah.
There'll be a whole McDonald's subplot though to get it.
Well, of course,
produced.
yeah. Half the shots are gonna be in a McDonald's.
All right. That's all my stuff. You want to say which one you thought was better, or?
I mean, I think clearly from my reviews, it's kind of a deboot. It's kind of a deboot.
Yeah, deboot faux show.
I wish it wasn't.
I think because I had expectations of the new one and none of the old one was so good and the new one was so milquetoast that I'm left to say deboot.
I didn't have expectations of either, other than, the original being so good that it makes this one kind of pale in comparison, because the old one might be, if someone said, oh, that's a classic, I'd say, okay, sure. But if someone said this one was a classic, I'd probably disagree on that one.
Worth noting, old one has a 3.4 and new one has a 3.8.
Well, that's because users are stupid and don't know nothing, and they need people like us to,
Exactly.
correct them.
Put them in the right direction.
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, actually, this is why you should like the movie.
Exactly. I think that's it for me.
I got it all, man.
All right, so join us next time on episode 4 when we talk about the 1973 movie The Day of the Jackal, followed up by its reboot, The Jackal, from 1997. And as always, it's the Worst Critics, Reboot or Deboot. I'm Noah Davis.
I'm John Pino.
And we're out of here.
Boom.
They're the worst.